Hi, Ask Auntie Tam here. Please excuse the hair. My mohawk's doing weird stuff today. So today I would like to carry on with talking about depression recovery. And one of the things that I would like to speak about is how does depression actually feel? If you've never experienced severe depression, or you've never experienced any kind of depression at all, you might not be able to understand what I'm going to be describing going in this video, because it really feels, I mean, when I think about it, and I listen to myself talk about it, it seems like out there. Because how can somebody possibly feel like this? How can they possibly experience this? And this is, and like I say, depression is not something I would ever wish on my worst enemy. I'd wish them butt thrash, but I wouldn't wish them depression. It is an ugly, debilitating, uh, traumatic illness. Best way to describe it. It's not pleasant to go through. It is not pleasant to live with. And I'm pretty sure, and we'll do a video for the people who are supporting people with depression, I'm pretty sure it's not easy for the people who love you. If you're experiencing depression, it's not easy for the people who love you to see this and experience with you. And I think because of the way we feel when we're experiencing depression, it's so easy for people who don't understand to just say, oh, just get over it. Watch a funny movie. You'll feel better tomorrow. Some of the things that people have told me is pull yourself towards yourself, whatever that means. No, you're just making it up. You're faking. I once worked for a woman when I was going through a very severe depressive episode when I was about 23. I worked for a woman and I told her, look, I'm experiencing depression. I need to cut back my hours a little bit so that I can heal. And eventually she turned around after about 2 months of me still being in recovery. She goes, well, aren't you well yet? And then this whole depression thing is really, really annoying. I think you're putting it on now. I think you're making this up. I wasn't. I understand that people would think that. And I understand that the people who are experiencing depression and hear these things, actually it'll make you feel worse than you've ever felt. Because there is a part of you while you're experiencing depression that actually thinks, am I making this all up? Is this even real? Am I just feeling sorry for myself? Because a lot of people will say, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You throwing a pity party, quit it. That's not what's happening here at all. This is, like I say, a debilitating illness. So, what does it feel like? Now, I can't talk for everybody who experiences depression. And as I've said before, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or any kind of medical professional. Everything I'm talking to you about comes from my lived experience. So I can only tell you how it affected me and what I felt and experienced while having depression. And yes, I still have depression. Oh, you wouldn't say because you said so perky and chip. That's also another thing people say. Because we wear masks. Because when we go out into the world, we'd rather look normal than for people to see that we're struggling with our mental health. And I think that goes across the board for many, and if not all, mental illnesses. We want to go out into the world and look normal. So what does it feel like? There is this crushing sadness that doesn't go away, that doesn't lift. You'll be in the bath, on the toilet, making tea, at your job, and you'll be smiling for your friends and whatever, but inside you are feeling this desolate, and it's desolate sadness. I think that living with depression is like a living hell. And I would imagine that and I only have my experience with PTSD, anxiety, depression, a little bit of OCD. Um, so I cannot speak for other mental health conditions, but I can only imagine also that with living with any mental illness can make you feel so isolated. And in order to interact with other people and in order to be in the world, you put on this face. I've done a video about the masks we wear. So you put on this face. Everything's fine. I'm okay. You're not okay. Because you don't want to talk about this crushing sadness that just doesn't lift. It is the darkest sadness. It actually almost feels physical, like you are having the life squeezed out of you. And I think that's pretty much what depression does. It makes you give up hope. It takes away your will to live. Your energy drops so much that, in my case, several times I wasn't actually able to get out of bed. I couldn't. Brushing my teeth or taking a shower was a mission. It felt like I didn't have the energy to do that. You lose your ability to person. You don't feel, in my case, I didn't feel like I was actually a human being anymore. My self-esteem, because with depression, our self-esteem crashes. No confidence, no self-esteem, hated myself. My depression got so severe on a few occasions where I quite seriously considered suicide. And that's what a lot of people who experience depression feel. They feel that this is it. They need to end their lives, and we will do a video about suicide at some point. It's just a very difficult topic to talk about, especially for me. So I suppose I'm working up the courage to do that. So I'm not ready to do a video about that just yet. So it's a devastating thing. It's like having your emotions completely and utterly amputated. There is no way you can feel joy. You can watch a funny movie and you'll go, ha ha ha, I'm supposed to be laughing, so I'm going to ha ha ha. But it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel real. For me, I felt like I actually didn't exist. I would look at my face in the mirror and I would go, who is this person? And they call that depersonalization. I would look at my hands and I would go, are these actually my hands? And I would try and, do this kind of thing. The main thing I think many people would associate depression with would be that crushing sadness. But what a lot of people don't realize is how much effort and energy it takes to actually get out of bed and be around other people, to do your job, all of that kind of thing. And that takes your energy away. And when you get home, you basically flop. When I was not married and I went through a depressive episode, I wouldn't cook. I would just get stuff I could pop into the microwave. Obviously, it's not healthy. And I wouldn't cook. I went to work the one day, and I know this sounds really awful. It's about 18 years ago, I think. I was severely depressed. That night, I didn't even shower. I didn't get out of the clothes that I was wearing. I went to bed in those clothes, and I went to work the next day wearing the same outfit that I had worn the day before and that I had slept in that night. Yeah, I did that. It's hard to describe the emotional pain that you feel. There are a ton of negative thoughts, and there's not a single positive thought that goes through your mind. You could be doing anything, and it's a negative thought. You're driving, and you go, "I'm such a shit person." You do think that I'm so shit. somebody says something to you at work and you take it on like, oh, I'm such an awful human being. Your partner might say something like, pick up your socks. And you'll be like, oh, I'm so terrible. I didn't pick up my socks. And it starts to become very internalized. And depression feeds on itself. It's you'll feel bad, then things will happen, you'll feel worse, and it feeds into the feeling bad. So it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. When you tell people about your depression, whether it's mild or severe, it doesn't really matter. If they don't understand it, they've never experienced depression before, you're not going to get the kind of support that you are hoping for on many occasions. Unless somebody is incredibly empathic or very sympathetic or very trying to be very understanding, you are not going to get the kind of reaction you will hope for, which is quite literally you just want somebody to say to you, it's okay, I am here, I support you, I love you. You'll get pushback. Are you sure you're depressed? Get some exercise. Here, do these affirmations. You're not thinking positively. Think more positively. Use the law of attraction to manifest better health. Are you fucking kidding me? Because yes, somebody did say that to me. Use the law of attraction to manifest better mental health. So while you are trying to make sense of your emotions and the state you're in and your mental health, you're getting feedback from people that are kind of naysaying what you're experiencing. They're naysaying that you actually have an illness. So you're starting to doubt yourself as well. That feeds again into that loop of negativity. And I really do think that depression is the loss of hope and walking through literal hell. Literal hell. Dante Alighieri wrote. Okay, I don't want to delete this video. I can't find enough. But Dante Alighieri wrote about a journey into hell, and the sign above hell says, "Abandon all hope, all ye who enter here." That is depression. It is completely devoid of hope, completely devoid of joy. You will make plans. Everything feels like an effort. It feels like you're walking through meters and meters of mud. Your emotions are all over the place. Sometimes you can't, depending on what's happening. Oh man, it's pervasive and it goes in through every corner of your life. Every corner. You go to work, you can't function properly because you've got brain fog. For me, I experienced incredibly bad brain fog. I couldn't focus, couldn't think clearly, couldn't make a decision. I still have those symptoms now. And I still have some sadness now, but it's not as bad. It's really, I'm really in a good place, I will say it. But I do still experience that awful brain fog, the lack of concentration, can't make a decision, memory is not lacquer. And this feeling of being just this cocksuit. Like, oh man, I can't even. I hope I've given a fair enough description of what depression feels like. If you feel that I could say more on this, please leave a comment or a like or a subscribe. That would be great. Then I can have more than two of you. If you want to ask me questions, please feel free to ask me questions. If you want to see me talk about a specific topic, please feel free to ask. If you want me to elaborate more on what it feels like to have depression, go for it. I'm here. Let's do it. Let's open the dialogue. Let's talk about things because it's such a stigmatized topic. And I'm pretty sure there are people walking out there who have no clue that they even have depression. because it can manifest in so many different ways. It can manifest purely physically, which is that tiredness of concentration. You might have stomach aches or muscle aches or joint pain, things like that, headaches, and not even be aware that you actually have depression. And we need to talk about it. So please, 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 let's open the conversation. And that's that for today.